There's a farming secret the Amish have been sitting on for generations. No tractors, no supplements, no expensive feed deliveries showing up every month like a bill you can't escape. Just water, a container, and 5 plants that most modern farmers have never even heard of. I went looking for it. Spent 4 months inside Amish country talking to the families who've been feeding entire homesteads this way. Quietly, cheaply, and without telling anyone outside their community. What I found was almost embarrassing. Because while the rest of us are spending $300, $400, sometimes $500 a month just to keep our animals alive, these farmers figured out how to cut that number in half. Using a kiddie pool in their backyard. One plant they grow produces more protein per square foot than soybeans. One of them turned pale yellow egg yolks into deep, almost violent orange in under 2 weeks. And one of them, their pigs refused to eat no matter what they tried. I tested all 5 myself. Same flock, same water, same conditions, 4 months straight. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which plant does what, how much container space you actually need, and the single one that cut the feed bill by $340 a month. The Amish didn't stumble onto this by accident. Let's start with the plant they always try first, and the mistake almost every outsider makes with it. Section 1. Azolla. Azolla is the plant that gets everyone excited. You start a culture, it spreads across the water in days, you harvest it, you throw it to your chickens, you feel like a genius. Then you actually watch your chickens eat it. This is exactly where most people go wrong, and it's exactly what I saw happening on the first Amish farm I visited. They'd started a culture in April. By week 3, they had 60 pounds a week coming out of a single 4x8 kiddie pool. From the outside, it looked like they'd cracked something wide open. But the chickens pecked at it, kicked most of it around, left the rest to rot on the ground. 60 pounds a week of feed that nobody wanted to eat. Here's what the numbers actually say. Azolla runs 25 to 35% protein when you dry it and test it. Fresh out of the water, it's mostly water weight. Don't let that fool you. In warm weather, between 70 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit, a 4x8 pool will give you 2 to 3 pounds of fresh material daily. That's 10 to 15 pounds a week when it's really moving. The protein is real. The growth rate is real. The palatability is the problem. Ducks will wait in the pool and filter the surface clear. They love it. Chickens will tolerate it only if you mix it into their existing feed at maybe a quarter of the total. Push higher than that, and they start ignoring the whole bowl. Pigs will eat it up to about a third of their diet, but go above that, and the fiber content starts suppressing how much they eat overall. For cattle and goats, the research shows Azolla works as a protein boost on top of low-quality hay. But to supplement cattle meaningfully, you need production volumes that don't fit in containers. You'd need a pond. Here's the thing about Azolla that surprised even the Amish farmers I spoke with. It fixes nitrogen. There are bacteria living inside the leaves that pull nitrogen directly from the air. That means Azolla will grow in clean tap water, no fertilizer required, where duckweed won't even get started. So the Amish keep one pool of Azolla running, not as their main production plant, as insurance. If the duckweed crashes from algae or nutrient problems, the Azolla keeps running without skipping a beat. Because something beat Azolla by 50% on protein content alone. And the Amish found it the same way I did, by accident, in month 2. Section 2. Duckweed. Month 2 of testing, I dropped duckweed into a second pool. Same size, same water depth, same sunlight. Within 3 weeks, the duckweed pool was outproducing Azolla by 40% on volume and 50% on protein content. Every Amish farmer I visited who had cracked the feed bill problem was running duckweed. Every single one. And once I saw the numbers, I understood why. Duckweed tests at 35 to 40% protein when dried out and measured properly. That is higher than soybean meal, the thing farmers pay premium prices for every single month. And these families are growing it in a kiddie pool behind the barn. It grows faster than Azolla too. Under good conditions, it doubles every 2 to 3 days. A 4x8 pool produces 3 to 5 pounds of fresh material daily when it's really cranking. That's 15 to 25 pounds a week out of the same container. But I want to be honest about the harvest. Duckweed is tiny. Individual pieces are about the size of a match head. You need fine mesh nets or kitchen strainers, and it takes 15 to 20 minutes to harvest what takes 10 minutes with Azolla. If you're running multiple pools, that time adds up, with digestibility sitting around 70%, which is solid for a forage. Rabbits on dried duckweed at 15 to 20% of their diet grew just as well as rabbits fed alfalfa. Sheep and goats handle it similarly to cattle. It improves the overall diet quality when mixed into hay or silage. One 4x8 pool of duckweed can supplement 10 to 15 chickens at about a third of their diet. For 50 chickens, you need 3 to 5 pools. For 20 ducks, 2 to 4 pools. There's one more thing duckweed does that the Amish figured out long before any research paper confirmed it. It cleans water. They route duck pond overflow into the duckweed pool, and cleaner water flows out the other side into the garden beds. Nutrient cycling and feed production running in the same system. One setup doing 2 jobs. That kind of thinking, nothing wasted, everything connected, is exactly why these farms run the way they do. Duckweed became my main production plant too. But there's a version of it that makes harvest significantly easier. And once I saw it growing on a farm in Lancaster County, I understood why some Amish families prefer it over regular duckweed entirely. Section 3. Spirodella. Spirodella is giant duckweed. That's not a metaphor. The individual pieces are 3 to 5 times bigger than regular duckweed. Still small, but big enough to scoop with a net that has larger holes. And that matters more than it sounds when you're harvesting every single day. Harvest time drops by half. Over a month of daily harvesting, that saves 5 to 6 hours. On an Amish farm where every hour has somewhere else to be, that's not a small thing. It's a real number with real consequences. Protein content is similar to regular duckweed, sitting at 30 to 35% when dried. Growth rate is about the same. Every animal that eats duckweed eats Spirodella. Chickens, ducks, pigs, goats, sheep, cattle, rabbits. No palatability difference whatsoever. The challenge with Spirodella is sourcing starter culture. It's less common than duckweed. But here's what actually happened in my own pools, and what several Amish farmers told me happened to them. Once a duckweed culture is established, Spirodella shows up on its own within a few weeks and starts taking over sections of the pool. I let both grow together now and harvest whichever is most abundant. The Amish do the same. If you're choosing between the two, choose whichever you can source. Performance is nearly identical. Spirodella just means less time standing at the pool with a strainer. Production per square foot matches duckweed. A 4x8 pool gives you 3 to 4 pounds fresh daily. Now, here's where things change. Everything so far has been fully floating. The next two plants grow differently, and one of them, the one the Amish families with pigs swear by, became the single biggest feed cost reducer on this entire list. The other one the pigs completely rejected, no matter what anyone tried. Section 4. Water spinach, the volume king. Water spinach is not fully floating. It grows in shallow water or wet soil. It's semi-aquatic, and it produces more total volume than anything else on this list, by a margin that still surprises me every time I look at the numbers. Protein content is lower than duckweed, 20 to 30% when dried, with leaves running higher than stems. But the sheer volume of what this plant puts out makes up for the lower percentage. In warm climates, water spinach can produce 40 to 50 tons per acre annually. That is not a typo. And the Amish farmers growing it don't need an acre to feel the difference. They feel it in their feed bill within the first month. They grow it in shallow concrete mixing pans with 4 inches of water and soil mix at the bottom. Plant a cutting. Wait 2 to 3 weeks. Harvest stems a few inches above the base and it regrows. Multiple harvests every month during warm weather from the same plant with no replanting required. A 4x8 bed with 20 plants produces 10 to 15 pounds of harvestable stems weekly at peak. That's enough to significantly supplement 2 to 3 pigs, or provide serious forage for 1 pig on its own. This is where the full $340 monthly drop came from, because pigs love water spinach with a kind of enthusiasm that makes every other plant on this list look lukewarm by comparison. Across Southeast Asia, water spinach has been primary pig feed for centuries. The Amish figured out something that farmers on the other side of the world have known for generations. Their pigs ate it at 30 to 40% of their fresh feed weight, enthusiastically, without convincing, without mixing, without tricks. They just ate it. Cattle and goats eat it readily when it's fresh. Ducks and geese consume it enthusiastically. Chickens need it chopped fine, but they'll eat it. There's another angle here that the more business-minded Amish families have quietly figured out. Water spinach is human food. Premium human food in the right markets. You can sell the surplus at a farmer's market or to Asian restaurants. In some areas, it commands prices that make it simultaneously your cheapest animal feed and one of your most profitable cash crops, running off the exact same growing bed. One serious warning that the Amish respect completely. Water spinach is legally restricted in some states as invasive. Florida, Texas, and several others regulate it. Check your local laws before you plant a single cutting. The Amish don't break rules, and neither should you. Where it's legal, it is one of the highest producing forages you can grow. Where it's restricted, don't risk it. Now, the last plant. The one the pigs wouldn't touch under any circumstances, on Amish farms or mine. Section 5. Watercress. Watercress runs 25 to 30% protein when dried, with exceptionally high calcium and a vitamin profile that puts most greens to shame. On paper, it is the most nutritionally impressive plant on this entire list. The chickens loved it. The pigs would not go near it. Every Amish farmer I talked to who had tried watercress for their pigs told me the same story with the same slightly defeated look. Mixed into grain at 10%, the pigs sorted around it, piece by piece, and left it in the bowl. Wilted first, ignored. Chopped fine at 5%, still refused. The peppery, sharp flavor that chickens find irresistible is apparently something pigs find genuinely and completely disgusting. There's no working around it. But here's the thing about watercress that changes the economics entirely, and why the savviest Amish growers still run it every winter. It grows year-round in temperate climates, while duckweed and Azolla die back completely in winter. It prefers cooler water, somewhere between 55 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which means it produces actively when everything else on this list is dormant and your feed costs are climbing back up. They grow it in shallow beds with recycled pump water flowing through. Plants root in gravel. Stems float on the surface. Harvest by cutting stems and leaving a couple of inches. It regrows within weeks. A 4x4 bed produces 1 to 2 pounds fresh weekly during cool seasons. But the real number is this. Watercress sells for $15 to $25 per pound at retail, $8 to $15 wholesale. Whatever doesn't sell at market goes to the chickens. The Amish understand this calculation instinctively. You're not growing animal feed. You're growing a cash crop with an animal feed fallback built in. That framing changes everything about whether watercress makes sense for your operation. Just don't put it in front of your pigs. You'll waste your time and their patience. So here's what 4 months of testing and generations of quiet Amish practice actually produced. The plant that tripled production per square foot compared to Azolla? Duckweed. Same container, 50% higher protein content, significantly better palatability across almost every animal. This is the one every Amish farmer running a tight feed budget comes back to. The plant that replaced the most feed cost dollar for dollar, the full $340 a month, also duckweed. It paid for the containers within the first week. The plant that produced the most total biomass by volume, water spinach. Lower protein percentage, but the sheer mass of what it puts out is unmatched. If you have pigs, grow water spinach. The Amish with hog operations already know this. The plant the pigs completely rejected on every farm, in every test, under every condition. Watercress. Grow it for your chickens and your wallet instead. For chickens and ducks, start with duckweed or Spirodella. Both work immediately. Azolla if your water is low nutrient, or you want a backup system that runs without fertilizer. For pigs, water spinach is your primary target. Duckweed works as a protein supplement alongside it. Skip watercress entirely and save yourself the frustration. For cattle, duckweed and Azolla can work as protein supplements to poor quality roughage, but container systems don't scale for cattle. You need pond infrastructure, a minimum of a quarter acre, before this becomes practical. Container costs are lower than most people expect. One 4x8 kiddie pool runs $25 to $35 and gives you 32 square feet of water surface. One pool of duckweed supplements 10 to 20 chickens at 30 to 40% of their diet. To supplement 50 chickens, 3 to 5 pools, $75 to $175 total. For 5 to 10 pigs using water spinach, 2 4x8 shallow beds in concrete mixing pans will run you $50 to $100. Start with one pool. Get the production consistent. Scale based on what you actually see, not what you planned to see. The Amish didn't build these systems overnight. They refined them season by season, farm by farm, until they worked without thinking about it. You can do the same thing in a fraction of the time, because now you know exactly what they found. The system works. The numbers are real. But it takes about a month to dial it in, and the first few weeks will look like nothing is happening. Stay with it. Have you tried any of these plants yourself, or seen Amish farmers working with them? Did your animals love it or reject it? Did something completely fail, or did a plant surprise you with how enthusiastically your flock went after it? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one.